So in lesson 2, you're going to slightly rework your hardware. Instead of using the button, you're going to use the tilt sensor. And the tilt sensor, it should say on it, tilt switch is what it's called. And it's got a little white bar, basically, a little white cylinder on it. Basically what you want to do, you're also going to need your other LED. The LEDs aren't labeled, so don't worry if you have like red or a red and a green, but they're sort of backwards from what this guy says. It doesn't really matter, you're just trying to turn on 2 different lights. Right? So what you want to do is take off the push button and put the tilt switch where the button is right now. And then you want to leave the LED in pin 12 and plug in the other LED into pin 11, or D11. And basically what it's going to do is, instead of using a button as the sensor, where it's, you push it to be on, you let go to be off, with the tilt sensor inside, it's basically got a similar kind of button, where if it's tilted one way, the button is pressed, and if it's tilted the other way, the button isn't pressed. Right? So instead of having something push something, you could attach it to a table or a computer or whatever. Some of the old school computers that had fall protection, they just had tilt sensors in them. So if the computer was ever tilted beyond a certain point, they shut down as quickly as it should. Kind of thing. The newer ones have accelerometers, so if they can feel that they're falling, if they're in free fall, then they turn off. Because sometimes you might drop your computer like this, and the old ones would just stay on, which is not so good. But yeah, so we just follow this, and then there's a little bit more code. You shouldn't have to change it very much. Most of the code is going to be the same. So you're just going to add another output, and you're going to add, you can change the comment from if the button is pressed to if the tilt switch is pressed. Or you can start a new one. If you want, I usually save stuff. Like when I've got the one here, I'll save lesson 1 and save lesson 2. Yeah, so here's lesson 2 as I've written it, with all the highlighting, so you can actually see what's going on there. And one thing you'll notice with my code, I come from the embedded world instead of the kind of more computer-oriented world. And one of the things that used to be a standard was instead of having the curly braces down here, you put them up here, so the beginning of whatever's holding it is in line with the end of the curly braces. Doesn't matter which way you go, like I said, it's going to ignore the white space. Put it either way, it's not really going to matter. That just makes more sense in my head, just from my background. So in this one, we see it different with curly braces down for both of them, and down for the if statement as well. Totally depends on how you want to do it. So does anyone want to take a stab if they've already put this in and finished lesson 2 and they're like rushing ahead on us to explain what these changes have done to the code? Okay, so basically all we've done to change from lesson 1 is we've added another output, and we've changed it so that the delay is a little bit longer, so it's a little more obvious, and we're still measuring the button and tilt sensor. Instead of pushing the button though, we're tilting back and forth. And we're turning one off and turning one on. And then if the button isn't pressed, we do the opposite, right? So if you have this code on, if you hold the tilt sensor one way, you should have one LED on, and if you flip it the other way, the other LED should come on. Right? So is there anybody out there who doesn't have that physical switching working?
I'm just kind of blanking.
Blinking